Welcome back to Alpha Mama Podcast 2022. We are now up to episode 6. Today we are talking about the $1,000 Project by Canna Campbell, which I'm really excited to share with you today. So what is Alpha Mama all about? Alpha Mama brings you the lowdown on books that change your lives in the self-development space. We do the reading and research so you can sit back, listen, and take the steps to live your best life and move towards a grounded life that reflects your authentic self. Growing up, I didn't feel like I had a lot of great guidance. The lack of guidance in my own life led me to make choices that accumulated in me hitting rock bottom by the age of 30. I felt like I had no one to turn to, and that's when I turned to books and researching how to live my best life. Fast forward almost a decade, and I have experienced total transformation. At Alpha Mama, we believe it doesn't matter who you are or where you come from. The only thing you need to succeed at your life is the belief that you can and the commitment to carry through with backing yourself. So welcome back. I'm so excited to have you all on board today. I feel like it's been a really long time since our last podcast, a little bit over a week. So it has been a really, really busy February, and I've just been sort of struggling to stay on top of everything. So I'm so excited though. This is a complete passion project for me. And as I've mentioned in the past, so the way that we run the episodes, we're talking about first creating a vision in our lives, then we're looking at self-discipline. So how do we build and cultivate discipline in our lives to stay on track? And then finally, we focus on finance and resources because, you know, you need resources to get you where you want to get. So how do we get resources? And today, that is what we're going to be talking about, the $1,000 Project. So who is Canna Campbell? She is the founder and director of financial media platform Sugar Mama TV. So I've personally not read the $1,000 Project previously. I've looked at a lot of Canna Campbell's, like I subscribe to her channel on YouTube. I know that she's developed quite a good media reputation. She does stints on TV and stuff like that. She's also the author of the $1,000 Project, which is what we're talking about today, and Mindful Money. She's a licensed financial planner for almost 2 decades and the founder of SAS Financial Services, which is a financial planning firm. So based on that bio, we can take from that she has the integrity that we're looking for in an author to tell us a little bit more about financial planning and being mindful with money and cultivating resources in our lives, right? So that's what we're looking for. So what is the $1,000 Project all about? Now, I am not 100%, I sort of faded out a bit in the very, very beginning of the book. But basically, the idea behind this project was for Canna Campbell to get some passive income coming into her life. And the way that she personally chose to do that, and she sort of shares through the how-tos of doing this, is she basically over a year, she was able to save $32,000, and that was by an investor. What she'd do is she'd get $1,000 parcels of money, and the way that she did this was she didn't use her own savings or her own income. She looked for extra jobs to earn money. So it had to be outside of her usual income. So it was like bonus cash that came into her life, and also savings. So wherever she saved money, she would instantly put that saving that she made from whatever, like if she got a discount on dinner or her friend took her out when she thought she was going to pay, she'd put that money immediately into a savings account. And as soon as it hit $1,000, she then would invest the money into blue chip shares. And that's how she basically built this, and then she'd invest $1,000 at a time, and then she quickly built a portfolio, and then she had 32,000 at the end of a year. Crazy, amazing. And she was earning passive income from that. Fantastic. So what are her guidelines and rules for the project? So she's put down 3 key guidelines to the $1,000 project. So being number 1, being mindful with your money. So one thing I really like about Canna is she is a minimalist. She's very mindful. She talks about money like it's energy, and about the flow of energy. So she's quite spiritual and attuned and holistic about her approach towards creating abundance in your life, but doing it from a really self-loving, nurturing space of wholeness, which is just really beautiful. It's attractive, it's sexy, we love it. We love it so much. So being mindful. So her guideline 1 was money earned over and above your usual salary, and then make it grow as soon as possible by putting every single bit into your savings as soon as you get it, like something you don't touch. And then sort of acknowledge and gratitude for the money, like treat it with be mindful, treat it with love and respect, kind of like a Marie Kondo, this money sparks joy in my life. So let's put it into the little nest egg that we're building for our beautiful future, or for whatever it is. Maybe we want to save up for holidays or something really special. Guideline number 2, work with your real life. So she doesn't recommend depriving yourself at all. She suggests that you should be self-loving and nurturing, and just recognizing, that deprivation is not the place to grow something solid foundations from, because you'll always be like you're not getting enough air, you need more. Whereas if you already have everything you need, which is really a mindset more than anything else, then it's easier and more secure to grow from that space. Guideline 3, consistency is king or queen. So being consistent about putting the money away, having goals, having really clear objectives and goals as to why you were doing this. Why are you putting this money away? What are you doing it for? And bringing yourself back to your why to help keep you focused, and then doing it consistently. She suggests that she became quite obsessive about it. It consumed her life. Like, how am I going to get this extra money? It was almost like a game, And I think a lot of people who have successful businesses or successful projects, that's often what happens, is they become obsessed with their project or their baby, and they're driven, and we're going to talk about that more in some other books like Think and Grow Rich. That's a fantastic book that really goes through self-hypnosis and basically turning your service or turning your accrual of resources into kind of almost an obsession. Doesn't sound so healthy, but it is, don't worry. I'm sure it is, who knows. So I think a big part of what motivated her to do the $1,000 project, she says, is, to help people realise that you're not a victim of your circumstances. You have the power to make something of your life and to make your savings happen. And by just focusing on just breaking it down into small little steps of, you know, if $1,000 seems overwhelming for you, maybe, you know, parcels of $500, and just focusing on making that, like, little chunking it into these little steps of like earning $500 and being really frugal, I suppose, around, well, do I really need this? Does this fit within my goal set? You know, I think when you do that, like something achievable, and she mentions this in the book, you know, it's like if you're just doing little parcels of $500 of savings, and then you get to that, you know, $450 or $498, you've only got $2 left, you know, it's going to be very hard for you to like spend that money, but also, you know, you'll be doing that little bit of extra work just to get it over the line, and then you can start afresh again, you know. I had a friend who, and I thought this was when I was in my early 20s, their parents were both bankers, and one thing that they did is they pulled out cash from the bank, and then they only had cash in their wallet, and they would have them in like $100 notes or something. And then that became for them a thing, like by having a large note in their hand. What they started doing was they were like, oh, do I really need that? Because then I would be breaking this crisp large note. And so it kind of acted for them as a stop on just mindless spending. And that's what's something that Canna mentions, is kind of being really mindful about where you're spending. If the more mindful you are, then the less likely you're just going to spend frivolously for no reason. So some key areas to think about that she focuses on is first looking at creating more wealth in your life, so creating extra wealth over and above your usual salary, saving money. So these are the key steps to wealth. So where can you save money instantly in your life? Can you do a review of your current circumstances and find things that aren't that you could instantly cut out, you know? And again, that's sort of like the same thing with your wardrobe. So great ways to, speaking of, she goes through a number of great ways that you can create money. So things like selling all your old items, like say you want to minimalize and you get really clear on where you're going. So what are your goals in life? Setting really clear goals and being really disciplined about that. That makes it really easy for you to see what you need to cut out of your life in order to create that free flow or that smooth flow of friction towards your goals. So things then, anything that doesn't fit within that goal spectrum, you know, you can start culling away, and that gives you the opportunity to then, you know, take those extra resources that you have, because it's just energy, and try and liquidate them into cash towards your savings bundle, right? She also suggests a number of other really great ways to create money. So offering to dog walk your neighbour's dogs for a fee, house sitting, babysitting, tutoring if you've got a skill, doing an extra job on the weekend. One that really appealed to me was, I was like, oh, I should try and get a job at the gym doing life saving or something as a part-time job on the weekend, and then I'd get a free gym membership, which would be ace. I'd keep my life-saving skills up, and I'd probably make some new friends and be more engaged with the community and get paid for it. Fantastic, you know. And then you can put that extra money into a savings account. Renting rooms out in your house if you've got extra rooms, or renting your home out if you go away for the week or going away for the weekend. Offering experiences to tourists that come to your area. So if you've got some skill like surfing, pottery, renting a car out, that's something I've definitely thought about doing. There are some great like rent your car or carpool companies. And if the other one that I've thought about is like, what about all your sports gear? Like, do you have snowboards? Do you have bikes, things, boards that you don't use in your garage, golf clubs? Could you rent them out to people? Could you make money that way? So that's just something to think about. Delivering food, Uber driving, getting paid to test apps. Apparently that's a little job you can do, or that other sort of like consumer marketing stuff. When I was younger, medical research, you can get paid heaps for medical research. Just be careful about what you're getting. I think I remember in my late teens, getting the flu shot, and that, we got paid $60 or $100 for it or something, before they put it out. So there are so many little ways that you could make some extra cash. The other one that she suggests is ideas for saving money. So meal planning, that's something I personally love when I'm all over it. You save so much money and you don't end up going to the supermarket all the time, so you don't get tempted to purchase unnecessary items, which is great. Instead of going out for dinner, invite your friends over and have a meal at home. Entertain at home as much as you can. You'll save thousands and thousands, no doubt, and then use the savings to put into your savings account. Fantastic. Look at your gas, electricity and petrol. That's one thing I'm looking at doing soon, is getting some solar panels. It might cost a little bit up front. There's a bit of a government rebate and an interest-free loan available at the moment, so that will take a huge chunk off the purchase price, and then we'll be saving heaps on electricity, and that will probably take 3 or 4 years to pay itself off, but still, in the long run, what a great option. And it's also important for sustainability, shorter showers, looking at recreational spending habits. So instead of going to the shopping centre, go for a walk. Hang out with your friends by exercising, not grabbing coffee, take more public transport. I like her build a capsule wardrobe. Be a minimalist. I love it. That's something it's a goalpost. I'm not there yet, but I'm working towards getting there. And if it's all a bit overwhelming at this stage, she suggests what she started was a frugal February. So looking at how much she could just save in 1 month. And there are all those sorts of little things that can just kickstart your process. So like, dry July or whatever, like if you just do it for a month and make it a challenge and just see like, what could I possibly save in this 1 month? It's amazing. You could really surprise yourself, and that could just be the start that you need in your life. The kick up the arse to get your life on track with savings. So what does she suggest as some of the goals in terms of you should adopt in terms of building a savings account, building a long-term financial freedom in your life? So she suggests adding these list of goals to your list. So reducing and wiping out toxic debt, getting rid of car loans, home loans, credit cards, and then focusing a little bit more on healthy debt, so things like buying shares, investing in companies, managed funds, and other things that will help build your wealth over time. And basically, just ideally having no toxic debt. And so she goes through a list of worst to least worst debt that you could possibly have in your life, which I think is interesting. So She starts with credit cards, saying they're the worst type of debt you could possibly have. They're hard to pay off, they're high interest rates, very damaging to your credit card rating. And interestingly, this is where she goes into the psycho-spiritual stuff. She also notes that in her experience as a financial planner, what she finds is that people who suffer with debt, with credit cards, and with all these problems, often there are underlying emotions that it's driving that. So things like guilt, shame, disgust, things. You're carrying things that you don't need in your life, and by getting rid of that toxic debt, it's helping you clear away those emotional issues as well. So it's really taking a holistic perspective of your life. Where am I suffering in my life, and how is that then filtering into every single part of my life, and what steps or action steps can I start taking towards moving towards a more positive energy in my life everywhere. Next, she suggests getting rid of things like personal loans and car loans. And then if you've got student loans or HECS debt, to try and start working towards getting rid of that. That's something I definitely have a lot of HECS debt I need to work on getting down. Home loans, then the next step, they're sort of half good, half not. Obviously, if you don't have to have a home loan, fantastic. But most of us have home loans if we own a house, and she suggests that instead of paying it off at the bare minimum, trying to chunk it down faster, you could, save yourself hundreds of thousands of dollars and pay off your home loan 10 years or 15 years early, which is what a lot of people in the FIRE movement aim to do. So a really good way, moving back to the FIRE movement, to do that was rent your house out, get someone else paying the rent, and then, both, if you're in a partnership, both working full time and then both topping up that home loan with your salaries, and then very quickly paying it down as soon as possible. Then she focuses on, so once you're sort of on top of those sorts of things, then you can start looking at things like having an emergency fund account. Now she suggests that will be different for everyone. So if you're young, healthy and capable of earning a high income, you might need less in your emergency fund account, whereas if you're older, you've got a family, you may want to have 6 months worth of earnings saved there in case something happened, and you just needed that security. And then finally, looking at wealth creation. So where can you find money? And what she suggests is actually knowing your number. So what is your magic number that you're trying to achieve? And then as soon as you know that, start working towards building that number in your life. So very interesting. And again, what she was saying, so basically her investment strategy was to invest her extra cash in to shares, and blue chip shares in particular. So what are blue chip shares? They're generally shareholdings in huge companies that have an excellent reputation. They're typically large, well-established and financially sound companies that have operated for many, many years, and have dependable earnings and often pay dividends to investors. So on average, the share market has something like a 7 or to 10% growth rate over a 10-year period or something like that. So it's actually quite a high return for an investment. And speaking of the share market, I'm excited to share, which I'll put the link to in the blog today, is so the ASX share market game is on at the moment. It just started, so we have all in our family registered to do it. And as part of the share market game, the ASX website actually has all these free courses you can do online. So I'm going to put the link to the free courses you can do online through the ASX, just learning about what shares are, how to invest shares, and what it's important to know about the companies when you're looking at investing. So that's something to definitely check out. So go to our website and you'll find the link there. And then just finally, just reflecting on all of that. So what she suggests when it comes to investing in shares, so really being clear on knowing what your goals are. What is your time frame for investment? And finally, what is your risk appetite? And what she suggests is that, maybe when you're younger or you've got less money or less savings, you might have a lower risk appetite and want, a higher sense of security around the return that you're going to get. But then maybe as your wealth grows, you may have more excess cash there available to start taking higher risk investments or making higher risk investments, because you've got the security there to wear the loss if it doesn't work out. So that's interesting, and I really think grounded and sound advice. So overall, the $1,000 Project by Canna Campbell I thought was amazing. I'll put a link to her YouTube channel and to the book on the blog, so you can check it out there if you want. And I really enjoyed this book. I thought it was great. I highly recommend it. Definitely borrow it, buy it, whatever you like. Probably borrow, because it's a financial planning book. Take some notes. Fantastic. Give it a go. So that is all from me this week. I hope you found that episode insightful, interesting. Please, comment, give us some feedback on how we're going and what other sort of content you may like to hear from us. Thanks for listening today, and I will see you next time. Next week, we are going to be talking about creating a vision, and you'll find out what the book is then. So, catch you then. Alpha Mama signing out.